Hello, everybody. It's Tim here again, here with another movie review, this time for VHS 1999. As far as the VHS movies go, it's hard for me to remember my overall thoughts on all the films, but I didn't like the first one. I remember liking the second one, I believe. Didn't like the third one. I can't remember if this is number 4 or 5, but I know I've reviewed all the other ones up until now, and now I've done 99. Now I'll just go ahead and say it. I'd give it a 2.5 out of 4 for this one. I thought this was all right. I liked it, didn't love it. It was all right, but I did like it. The last two stories were the strongest in my opinion. The first story about like this punk rock band that like goes in this place where this other punk rock band was killed or whatever, and they're just like causing trouble and making fun of the dead rock band that died there, and then they get attacked by like their zombie ghosts or whatever who dismember them and take them all to pieces and like possess the bodies and start playing songs at the end. It was okay. It was kind of predictable where it was going to go. Overall though, it was okay. The other stories, like about this chick or whatever who's in this fraternity and has to like earn her way into it or whatever, who gets like put underneath the ground, buried alive for a little while. She's supposed to be, but then the sorority sisters like play a really mean prank on her by like leaving spiders down there with her and then take off and leave her because the cops show up and they don't want to get expelled for what they've done to this girl. And then she gets attacked by like this zombie ghost or whatever who was of a girl who had this similar thing happen to her back in the past, and she comes back as like a zombie ghost, traps all them. We don't see how though, but this is a basic comeuppance story that you can see coming from a mile away. And they all get trapped underground, and the creature like shows up there and like takes their souls to hell, pretty much. The other story about like the game show thing, this one was a little weird. This little black girl's like on a game show, and she ends up getting her leg crippled, and the guy deliberately who's hosting the show doesn't like the medic team come out there to help her because he doesn't want her to win the game show. So her family gets mad, like kidnaps the dude like a year later, I think. Takes him hostage, tortures him, and he like takes him into the game place so they can. It's like called something dungeon or whatever. Takes him back there so they can actually get a wish granted, supposedly, on this game show, which is kind of weird that the dude like kept recording after the little girl's like leg was like broken half or whatever. Or he would the talk show guy, I mean the host, he was just acting like it was just like a common thing, not a big deal, like trying to play it off, even though this would be like huge network TV, even in the 90s. But yeah, they go back there and it's like this big fat woman or whatever in the back of the place is like possessed or something. Some demonic creature comes out of it, and the little black girl gets to make her wish. And it's pretty much her wish is to have everybody killed. Her family, who's like was gonna try to exploit her with like prize money or whatever that they thought she was gonna get or something like that, so they could like get out of Detroit. And she kills the host of the show, and she just like smiling at the camera, and that's how it ends. It was okay. Most of these first ones are just kind of okay with like all right moments. The one about the Gawker dude or whatever, like in between the segments of the VHS tape, we get like this dude who's like filming videos with his army man, and we find out he's like this picked on kid of his brother, and I think it's his brother, and there's like his brother's friends and everything. Like he makes friends with this girl, blonde hair, hot, I mean, this attractive blonde hair girl from across the street or whatever, and they want him to like plant like a webcam or something like that in her room, so they are rig it to where they can like see her undressed and everything, and they peer pressure him into it because he doesn't want to do it. And that's kind of the moral message of this one. This is once again a moral message type episode, similar to something you'd see in like Creep Show or Tales from the Crypt or whatever, where they're like telling him, do it, man, you got to do it for us or whatever, and he gets pressured into doing it, so he does do it. And then they find out when she's undressing in front of the camera that she's actually like a Medusa type creature, just a random creature who's really similar to Medusa. She comes over there and randomly knows that they're actually videotaping her. We don't really know how she knows, but she's mystical, so whatever. She comes over there and starts turning them all into stone and ripping them apart. And the last guy, who was like the boy she liked or whatever, who's the one that's getting picked on, he's like, I'm sorry, I apologize, please. And she doesn't accept the apology, turns him into stone as well. And so it's kind of a good like come up in story, but also at the same time, it's kind of a good message about like not giving into peer pressure and all that, because you may get your ass kicked, and that's what happens to these guys. Um, yeah, that one was all right for what it was. And then the last one I think is my favorite. It's like To Hell and Back or whatever, something like that, where it's these guys who like they're pretty funny. They show up to like this place to like document something or whatever, and it turns out they're witches, and they do like a spell that sends them to hell. And they're in hell, and they make friends with this other chick whose name's like Mabel, I think is her name. And they're like trying to escape hell, and you got all these demons, and you can tell the movie's made on a low budget because hell is pretty much just like a cavern of rocks or whatever, or a cave. And they're trying, but it's still neat though, seeing all the practical effects that they are able to do here with all the different demons and stuff. It's kind of cool looking. And they're trying to escape and all that, and the Mabel woman gets trapped there, but she tells them to like write her name in a book so she can actually come back when they do the spell again. And they managed to, or when they were trying to summon a demon, basically the witches were, but because Mabel's name is in the book, they're going to end up summoning her instead. So they make it back, and then they both get killed by the witches. And the last guy though, who's dying on the ground, uh, he manages to write her name in the book as he dies. So we get the idea that when they do the spell again, they're going to summon Mabel, and Mabel's going to kick all their asses and kill them all in vengeance. And so the guys will get the last laugh regardless. So yeah, overall, those last two stories are my favorites. They were both all right. Overall, in terms of the movie as a whole, it's all right. I liked it. All right, Time Killer. I liked it. 2.5 out of 4. Not bad. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.